Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube. I couldn't wait to talk to my next guest. He is a 10-time All-Star who led the New Jersey Nets back in the day to back-to-back NBA Finals appearances in 2002 and 2003. He eventually won an NBA title in 2011 after returning to Dallas, who originally drafted him back in 1994. Now he's leading the same franchise, the Dallas Mavericks, back to the NBA Finals, this time as a head coach. He is one of the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA. He's the reigning champion for the Western Conference. Please welcome the one and only Jason Kidd to the show. What's going on, big time? How are you, Coach? How's everything?
I'm doing great, Stephen A. I'm not big time, but I'm happy that you found the small people to come on the show.
Well, listen, we know better than that. You know, you can be humble all you want to, damn it. You're one of the greatest point guards in the history of the game. So I'm going to call you that. But I got to ask you, Coach, in all seriousness, when you think about where you are right now, being in the NBA Finals as a head coach in this short stint, just a few years you've been coaching the Dallas Mavericks, what does this feel like for you right now?
It's surreal. I mean, it's a moment that we can only dream about, and that dreams do come true. But it's just, having the opportunity to represent the Dallas Mavericks. I was drafted, as you brought up, by Dallas, won a championship with Dallas, and now have an opportunity as a coach to win a championship. And it's just, I'm very honored, but also just surreal to be able to have this moment.
When did you feel like this particular team could get to the NBA Finals?
I don't know if there was just one moment, that we thought we can make it to the finals. I think that was Game 5 against Minnesota. But before that, I thought the team, in March started to become a team on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. I thought when we made the trade and got PJ and Gafford, it gave us depth, more athletic, being able to play and score with both of those guys. But I again, when you talk about Luka and Kai, I thought, come March, I thought we really started to, go in the right direction on both ends of the ball.
You know, Coach, when I look at this team right now, I thought about last year, and I thought about how essentially y'all didn't make the playoffs and everybody was making so much noise about it. It was something that you guys didn't want to do in terms of participating in the play-in tournament. I looked at the team right there. There was no Gafford. There was no P.J. Washington. Obviously, Kyrie was approaching free agency to some degree. We were looking at all of those things, and I was wondering about this franchise and what success it could enjoy in the future. What was your mindset like at that particular moment in time when last season ended? Looking at this team, fantasizing about this upcoming season, what were your thoughts about the team in the immediate aftermath of the end of the regular season last year and going into the offseason?
Yeah, at the end of last year, we didn't play well enough to make it to the play-in tournament. We didn't qualify for the top 6 in the Western Conference to make the playoffs. And so I think with the plan of being able to go into the lottery to address some of the needs, I know we always talk about D-Live, but also in that first round, we were able to get Omax, who's been hurt, but also participating in our G League. We felt we got younger and more athletic. And then I thought with the plan, I thought Nico did an incredible job of addressing some of the issues that we had, being able to get more athletic. We were able to get D Jones and Exum. And so we felt like, signing Grant as a free agent, we felt that we got better, and that understanding that to build a championship team, it takes time. It wasn't going to happen overnight. We did lose Brunson to New York, to your Knicks. And so we had to make some adjustments, and I thought no one panicked. I thought from Cuban to Nico, no one was panicking. It was about building a championship team, and that's what we're doing right now.
I'm looking at Luka Doncic right now, Coach, and I think a legitimate argument could be made that we first of all, it's two things. Number one, that the best 3 players on the planet are Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Luka Doncic. And right now with y'all in the NBA Finals, there's a lot of talk about Luka Doncic possibly emerging as the best player in the world. One of the greatest things that I don't think is said enough about you is what a great talent evaluator you are. and how you've surrounded yourself with people that are great talent evaluators and great talent developers. Could you put into your words what it's like to coach Luka Doncic and what he brings to the table, some of which we all have seen, other things that only a keen eye like yours would probably see?
Yeah, when you talk about Luca, I've always said this. We never want to take anyone for granted. He is so talented. Being able to score the ball from being able to post up off the dribble, catch and shoot. He can make all the passes. And so to be able to have that talent and his will to win, even if you're down 5 points with 10 seconds, he believes that he can find a way to win. And so when you're around this on the daily, as a coach, I just want to help him make the game easy for him. And so when we talk about not just the offensive end, but now he's participating on the defensive end, he knows that teams are going to put him in the pick and roll and bring him up and try to wear him down. And so you can see that he has gotten better in each series, and we expect Boston to do the same thing. But his competition, he loves the stage. As the stage gets bigger, his game gets better, and that's a rare thing to have when you talk about DNA. He has it.
Coach, how much do you think you've helped him personally? I know that's not something that you want to give yourself credit for, particularly for a guy that's been playing Pro Bowl in Europe since the time he was 13 or 14 years of age. But as great as Luca is, there does seem to be a distinct difference between him now and or from what we've seen over the last few years. What do you believe Jason Kidd has done to help his game come along?
Well, I think just calmness. There's no panic. I trust and believe in Luca. Even if he misses a shot or turns it over, I truly believe that he's going to find a way to help us win. And just understanding again, my eyes and ears are here to help him make the game easy. He sees the game as well as anyone. But again, having fun, reminding him to smile and have fun and enjoy this, because you're not guaranteed to always make it to the finals or the Western Conference Finals or win 50 games. So to enjoy this, and then also try to push him, to try to get him to be better. We talked about that last summer. As a team, what can we do better? I asked him, can we play faster? He said, yes, we got to take the ball out faster. And so he was for that, and I thought it helped his game so that he didn't have to wrestle for 40 minutes with someone picking him up full court. Again, great players want to be coached, and he's one of those great players that wants to be coached, and I'm very lucky to have that.
You were a guy when you were a player coach that you weren't seen talking a lot. You performed and you performed at a very elite level, but you didn't have much to say. At least it seemed that way for those that weren't sitting courtside or anything like that. In the case of Luka Doncic, you could be in the upper decks. It don't matter. You see this dude talking to opponents. I mean, for him to come out there in Game 5 and scorch the Minnesota Timberwolves the way that he did after struggling in Game 4 with 7 to 21 shooting, for him to turn over at the bench and talking smack to them, for him to abuse them while talking to them, it is not something you see too often transpire in today's NBA game, at least not on that level. How do you feel when you see Luka doing that? Because it just says to me, damn, he's busting their living, you know what, and there's really nothing they can do about it. He's not just beating them, he's demoralizing them, snatching their hearts from out of their chest. That's what I saw him doing at Game 5 against Minnesota. What is that like for you as a coach in the coaching box, seeing your player do that to their opposition?
Yeah, I think when you talk about Game 5 and his talk on the floor reminded me of Game 7 in Phoenix. Just sit back and watch because he's about to take us on a ride. And when he came out and was shooting the ball, the way that he did, you said, oh well, we're going to leave him in for the whole game because he's just going at a high level. And you could see he wanted to end that game and end that series before halftime, and that's what he did. But it's just incredible. Again, as I talked about, he's not afraid of the stage. He's not afraid to talk either because he believes that he can back it up. But I think one that he loves to talk. to the crowd, to the players, to the officials, and I think that really gets him going when he does that.
I got to transition to Kyrie Irving because we all know that I've been critical of Kyrie Irving in the past. I've marveled at him this year. I think he's been nothing short of sensational. I think he's put the basketball world on notice, reminding the world of how great he truly is and how special he is. I also think he's been a great leader because you can see how deferential the players are to him from time to time, even Luka in certain moments and what have you. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. I give you a lot of credit for that as well because you highlighted to a lot of us. You weren't talking about me in this particular situation. You were talking about some other issues that were transpiring about just overall the negativity that was being aimed in the direction of your players and of the franchise. I want to know when you recall that and you think back to that, what your mentality was like and did you have any idea that it would help your team as much as it ended up helping them because so many people have gravitated towards the positive about your team. Did you think about that at all?
No, I think the big thing is there's enough negative in the world, and so
Right.
when you talk about Kai, I think sometimes we get stuck on a negative. But again, when you look at his basketball, his skill set, you see his peers will say that he's one of the if not the best pound for pound basketball player in the world. His skill set is like no other. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I've said this publicly. I think his calmness with his teammates when things can be a little hectic or people are starting to panic a little bit, he just brings this calmness and this confidence that people will gravitate to. And he delivers. And also he enjoys that positivity. And again, I brought it up that publicly. Can we just look at some of the positive things that he's doing on and off the floor? And I thought that started to snowball and started to turn not just the, the 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 team around, but also just the narrative that we were, not a negative franchise, but this was a positive thing, and we're living it. And he's lived up to everything that Nico and I and Cuban thought when we made the trade that he was able to do. And we're gonna need him in this next series to play at a high level for us if we have any chance of winning.
You know a thing or two about elite play as one of the great guards in NBA history. As a small guard, is Kyrie Irving the greatest small guard? We're talking about Isaiah Thomas. We're talking about Nate Tiny Archibald. We're talking about Allen Iverson. We're talking about all of these guys. Some people, a lot of people, are looking at Kyrie Irving and calling him the greatest small guard in the history of basketball. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a great compliment. Those names that you just mentioned. Um, what's the small guard? Well, how tall do you have to be? Because at my
Six
age, I'm
one,
starting to
six
shrink.
two.
So 6'2". Yeah.
I got you. I got
At,
about
at fif-
6'2" or smaller. 6'2" or smaller.
51, I'm shrinking, so I think I'm 6'2", but my stats aren't good enough. But I think when you talk about Kai, he's going to be right there at 1A. Understanding AI, again, being able to play against AI and the things that he did on the floor were at a high level. But I think Kai would be my choice. I could be biased, but I think when you look at Kai, AI, and Isaiah Thomas, these are great individual players that knew how to score. They were all winners. But when you talk about Kai being able to finish with both hands, it's just incredible what he does with the ball in small spaces.
Where do Luka and Kyrie together rank among the best backcourts ever? And how high could a title elevate them in your mind?
That's a great question, and I know Stan Van Gundy started this, and I thought I would say that they were, high on the list of being a tandem. I
Right.
know Steph and Clay. There was debates of can Clay, put it on the floor and get his own shot. But when you're talking about the tandems of Magic and B. Scott, the tandems of Luka and Kai, Steph and Clay, I mean, you can't go wrong if you say one of those are number one because
Mm.
they all can score the ball. They're all winners. And I think this tandem here, when you talk about Kai and Luka, if they can get to the finish line, they're going to put themselves right there at the top of that list.
Coach, let's get into the series a little bit. How you gonna win this series? How you gonna beat the Boston Celtics?
Boston's well coached, and they, when you talk about, they've been there before. You talk about the tandem of Tatum and Brown. They put a lot of pressure on your defense, and so for us, we got to try to find a way to just take care of the ball, get good looks. Again, we're going to have to try to, defend the three. They all shoot the three. They're all lasers, and so this is going to be a great test for our defense, and so hopefully. We can find a way to get the threes down and take away easy shots for them. But again, we got to take care of the ball and get good looks ourselves on the offensive end.
Kristaps Porzingis, a former member of the Dallas Mavericks, is now a member of the Boston Celtics. There's a lot of news about that he's scheduled to play and what have you. How much of a difference can he make? I know he's coming off the calf injury. Is a calf injury that's deemed to be, similar to what Kevin Durant suffered from before ultimately tearing his Achilles once he showed up in the NBA Finals. So we don't know what the deal is. But when you look at Porzingis and what the Boston Celtics are with him compared to what they are without him, could you decipher and dissect that for my viewers and listeners out there as to what it would be like for the Dallas Mavericks going up against a team with Porzingis compared to a Boston Celtics team without him?
Yeah, when you talk about with him, KP is another weapon where you talk about offensively. His range is extremely deep. He shoots the three at a high percentage. He can post up with the switch. Again, a lot of people defensively won't talk about his defense, but again, he's one that will change or block shots, so you got to account for him. And so with him on the floor, it just makes him that much better and deeper. And so if he's healthy and able to go, again, he puts a lot of pressure on our defense with his ability to pop and shoot the three, and then also being able to put it on the floor and be able to pass, but also to be able to get to the rim. And so for us, it's going to, again, put a lot of pressure on our defense. Without him, Horford and those guys are going to have to play, more minutes. But as you can see in this last series, they played without him, and they played well.
I look at you guys right now and I think about, there's been a debate about the X factors. Gafford's been tremendous as far as I'm concerned. So has Lively. I'm praying he doesn't get knocked upside the back of his head for a third time. He got hit twice. First with the knee by Karl Anthony Towns, and then, and then another hit. I'm just praying he doesn't get hit in the back of his head again. I want him healthy and ready to roll, of course. But I got to tell you, I'm thinking PJ Washington is the key to this series. This brother in his corner threes, you can't leave him open. He did really well against OKC in the semifinals, not so much in the conference finals, but he's still a big-time threat. I went on the air this morning and declared that PJ Washington hits his threes, Dallas wins the championship. I know it's not that simplistic. I know it's far more complicated than that. But how much of a plus would it be for you if PJ shooting from three looks the way he looked against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference semifinal series?
Yeah, I think when you talk about PJ, being able to knock down the three, that corner three, because of Luka and Kai, getting double teamed. PJ's been great since the trade for us, not just offensively, but defensively. This young man plays the game the right way. He never complains. He goes out there and does his job at a high level. And so we're going to need him to score the ball. Again, we believe we'll be able to get some open looks, but also for his ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket is something that we're going to need in this series. And again, if he's knocking down those threes, that definitely helps our offense.
Who are you concerned most about on Boston? Is it Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? I know it's both of them to some degree, but is there somebody
Yes.
that you're more concerned about than the other?
Well, I'm concerned about both of those highly when you talk about Tatum and Brown. They put a lot of pressure on your defense, being able to score and then also being able to find the open guy. The other gentleman that, we're all concerned about here in Dallas is White. When you talk about his ability to shoot the three, again, he's one that a lot of times goes under the radar, but when he's able to knock down threes and he gets a lot of looks at them, it takes their offense to another level. So again, they got a lot of lasers out there. We got to be able to guard the three, but White is one that we are concerned about.
Coach, a couple more questions before I let you get on out of here. And thanks again for your time. The one and only Jason Kidd, head coach for the Dallas Mavericks, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. on a personal level, you coached in Brooklyn in the 2013-2014 season. I wanted you to be the head coach of the Knicks, but we won't go there. You left there, and then you went to Milwaukee for 4 years. I still wanted you to the Knicks. You didn't go there. And then you ended up being an assistant coach with the Lakers. I wanted you with the New York Knicks. Then they didn't come get you there, so it pissed me off even more. And now here you are the last 3 years in Dallas, and you've been through a lot throughout your coaching career in terms of your movement and what have you. What level of validation, if any at all, is this for you in terms of player development and in terms of player relations, coaching players, guiding them, et cetera, et cetera? How are you feeling about you at this stage and point in your career, considering all that you've been through and now validating it all with what you've accomplished?
Yeah, I think one, I'm excited about the opportunity. I think when you talk about those stops, we have improved in each spot, that I've been able to coach. When you talk about Brooklyn, being able to win Game 7 as a rookie coach there, losing to the Heat in that next series, going to Milwaukee, who only had won 12 or 13 games the year before and ended up winning 41. And then being able to be around Giannis and feel like I, helped there with his development a little bit, but he did the work. But, I felt that I could help him get to the next level. And then being able to go to LA and learn from Frank Vogel to understand, and then being able to win a championship with LeBron and AD in that group. It was, that was not an easy championship in the bubble. But it was a lot of fun. And as a coach, I got to learn a lot from Frank. And then here to be able to, come my first year in Dallas and get to the Western Conference, finals and lose to Golden State and the world champs, we felt like we were going in the right direction. We lost a young player to your Knicks, Brunson, but to be around Brunson and Luka, that first year was a lot of fun. And then to, be able to get Kai and now be back in the Western Conference Finals and win there, and then now to take a step forward to get to the finals and see what happens. But as a coach, you're always trying to get better, and I've had the opportunity to do that in different places, and I'm happy to be here in Dallas. And hopefully, as a player, I've won a championship, and hopefully as a head coach, I can win a championship. But I've won a championship as a coach, and so as an assistant coach, but now hopefully I can win one as a head coach.
Coach, man, I know you got to run. You're busy. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really, really appreciate it, man. Good luck. I'll see you in a couple of days. Obviously, working for ABC, I'll be covering the NBA Finals. So I'll definitely see you in a couple of days, man. Thank you so much, man. You take care of yourself, all right? And I'll see you in a couple of days.
Thank you, Stephen, for having me.
The one and only Jason Kidd right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Listen, I wasn't exaggerating. I wanted that man to be the coach of the Knicks for years. He knows that. I mean, it's ridiculous that the New York Knicks passed up on him. We got Tom Thibodeau now, so, we can't complain about that because the man has proven to be a hell of a coach. He did a hell of a job this year, but I'm a huge Jason Kidd fan. I ain't apologizing for that for a damn soul. That man can coach. And I'm not there yet. I haven't made my decision yet. I still got a couple of days, but I'm leaning towards Dallas winning this series. And I know Boston's been the best team in basketball all year long. But what I'm seeing from Luka and what I'm seeing from Kyrie and what I'm thinking about what I'm seeing, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know. It's a pick'em series to me. It can go either way. I'm very, very nervous about it. It's going to be a thriller, though. Make no mistake about it. I can't wait to be there. I think it's one of the best NBA Finals series, if not the best NBA Finals series in the last decade plus. I really mean that. I really, really mean that. Maybe Miami, San Antonio won, not the second one, the first one. Maybe that was better. Maybe. All right? Boston, LA, no doubt. Kobe and the crew against KG and Pierce and Ray Allen and Rondo in 2008 and then again in 2010. Okay, I get that. But since 2010, I'm not sure that any series has been as compelling as this one coming up. Yo, KD was on Golden State. We knew they were going to win. Now, if you want to go with Steph Curry and those boys, when LeBron and them came back from a 3-1 deficit, you go right ahead. But if it wasn't for that stimulus package handed to LeBron James by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver for suspending Draymond Green, because he got issued that additional tech, and then he had accumulated enough techs where he ultimately had to sit out Game 5. And then that same Game 5, Andrew Bogut and Andre Iguodala got hurt, which is what propelled Cleveland to be able to come back from a 3-1 deficit. They were supposed to win that in 5. Remember, Golden State won that Game 4 in Cleveland. And we're going back to the Oracle in Oakland to close out Game 5. If Draymond Green had played that game, they'd have won. So that's how I look at it. I'm not sold. I think this series between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks is the most compelling NBA Finals series in the last 14 years. Outside of Miami, San Antonio, part 1. That's just me.